everyone. This is Twyla Ellis with Trophy of Grace Podcast, and today I am going to talk about overcoming that continual process of renewing your mind in a place from extreme trauma and turmoil. Once again, my story is a story of intense abuse and trauma at the hands of my biological father. And it's just layers and layers and layers of trauma, actually, and healing involved. I've written a book called Trophy of Grace. It can be purchased on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Trophy of Grace by Twyla Ellis. And my podcast is for just listening and video podcast. I have a tendency to think that everybody wants to be visual like I am, but I know some people just want to listen. So I just want to, first of all, thank you for joining me and just touch on something real quick, and then I'm going to wait until the next session to talk about the next episode. And this episode is about just trying to process and understand that healing comes in layers. My mentor, my friend, my sister in Christ, she has just really helped me a lot. And one of the things that stood out to me, that when we talked, she would talk about, just the love of God and allowing him to penetrate my heart to forgive. And it seemed like those times when you feel like you've already forgiven and then something triggers you, and we all know, well, not all of us, but a lot of people know that when you're triggered, that's a response to your brain that automatically has you go into a fight, flight, or freeze mode in your brain and your mind. Everyone does that when they're triggered. It's a reaction of the brain instantly that bypasses the rationalization part of your brain. And you just fight. You go into fight mode, freeze mode, or flight, run. And I'm a fighter. I have a deep personality. All the assessments, tests I've taken, I have a strong personality, like a dominant personality. But I heard something today that just really triggered me momentarily. And since I've been practicing this for years, how to manage my emotions, I didn't give the reaction that I normally do. But my head instantly started hurting because I actually had an internal battle inside, because knowledge is a game changer. And at the same time, the flip side of knowledge and being aware of things you shouldn't do is that your emotions, they'll line up with your thoughts, but initially, when it's, like I said before, when it's a trigger, the thoughts try to proceed and go before the emotions. Try to go before your thinking, which it does. It your emotions, you react, and that's a God-given mechanism, given for a really good reason. Because if a snake is crawling in your door, and as soon as you open it, you don't have time to think and say, should I close this door and not let this snake in? You need to be triggered into automatically closing the door from fear. So that fight, flight, or freeze, fight, flight, or freeze mechanism is for a good reason. Just like everything, every aspect of our being is initially for a good reason. But back to what I was saying, is that it's just amazing how you can think you're healed from something and still be triggered the same way you were at the same time it happened 15 years ago. And I'm not going to go into detail, but I heard something about my father today, who was the one who abused me and my sister, physically, sexually, and it just triggered me so intense in my emotions till my heart started beating real fast. And I was processing, and trying to apply. Well, I did apply through the process of about 30 minutes processing how to just move and go through it the way I'm supposed to. All the emotions that I was feeling about how some things he did that were so demonic to me. It made my stomach sick. And I always knew it was a demonic force on him to even try to have sex with his own children, that his seed produced them. And so I always knew that something was very demonic there and ungodly and just extremely perverted. But the perversion just seems to go on and on. It's like I'm hearing things and I'm being reconnected with family members in the past that I didn't know at first as a child and as a young adult. And I'm hearing things that I probably, God know, I didn't need to hear until now. So, with that being said, I just want to encourage someone to that. Don't give up. Don't feel frustrated. Don't be discouraged that when you have a moment 15 years later and you feel like you're going back and you're backsliding, get that backsliding terminology out of your vocabulary and just understand that you are growing no matter what it look like. I want to thank you all for joining me, and I will catch you my next episode. I'm sorry.